Assalamu alaikum, my friends, and welcome to Morocco's biggest city, Casablanca. Today we're in the economic capital for some food, for some sights, for some history, but most importantly, to get the vibe of this hustling and bustling behemoth here in Morocco on its Atlantic coast. Does that sound good? Let's go, yalla. So I'm starting today's video at the most touristed site in Casablanca, the most amazing building that I think I've actually seen in Morocco, full stop. It is the Hassan II Mosque, and it sits here on the North Atlantic coast of Morocco. Morocco gets this really big benefit of being a big seafaring nation. They have access to the Atlantic, they have access to the Mediterranean, all the way from the north in Tangier, all the way to the south in the Western Sahara region. So, the Hassan II Mosque, look at this beast. It was started in 1986. It's the second largest mosque in Africa. It's the 7th largest mosque in the world, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's named after Hassan II, who had the goal of leaving one of the world's most beautiful buildings, something that would stand in time forever in the upcoming economic capital of Morocco, Casablanca. So they hired a French architect, they went to work, started in 1986, and in 1993 they pumped out this beautiful mosque. Now it's a place of pilgrimage that millions of Muslims come and visit. You can see a lot of Islamic tourism in this region, so you'll find people not just from Morocco visiting this mosque, but also people from Kuwait, from Saudi Arabia, from Pakistan. They come to view the beauty of what the Moroccans have created. The cool part about this mosque is that Morocco, being a very conservative Islamic country in some ways, doesn't allow tourists often to visit the inside of their mosques. But apparently, this is one of two in which you can. So because of COVID, it's become challenging to go in anywhere. So that's kind of the case pretty much everywhere. So a lot of things have been closed here. But if you do come to Casa, you can definitely go inside this. And I would love to go to the top of that. I can only imagine. Last little note on this place, because I'm not gonna go in because it's ridiculously expensive and they give you 15 minutes. Depending on the time that they pray. You can only go in certain times, like every hour for about like 45 minutes, which seems fine, but they won't let you walk around. I don't know, the whole thing's very weird. To say the service in Morocco, not my favorite. They make things very sketchy and they just look at you to give them money sometimes. So, not about that. So let's go to the port side. Let's find some food and I'll tell you the story of Casablanca, the White House. For me, I think the story of Morocco, especially from what I've found, is it's a story of the haves and the have-nots. And I found an amazing place to describe this. So here is the Hassan II Mosque, which we were just at. This structure cost 585 million euros to complete. And then just a bit, like literally like 300 meters away, we have this sort of like really old traditional neighborhood where people are, you know, drying their towels and drying their rugs, and these houses are absolutely falling apart. And over here, even behind this, there's graffiti, there's kind of this weird little slum house vibe. Certainly not the nicest area. And then on the other side of this is the port, with one of the largest shopping centers where people are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of euros every day. So this is when I always say Morocco is very complex, because here it seems that things are good and things are bad and they're all intermingled, which is strange, and everyone's just kind of getting on with it no matter what. I think you find this in every country, but I think it's extra pronounced here in Morocco, especially when you see all of the money that's being put into this, all of the palaces, all of the mosques, all of the beauty that's being built both by external powers and internal powers. And then you see stuff like this with people kind of like living in a trash wall. Very strange. Maybe the best part about this retaining trash wall that they've got here is that someone has dumped a bunch of mussels. And this place is known for seafood, so it seems like, you know, maybe they use it, who knows what they use it for. Very strange. But the funniest part about this whole thing is that over here they have a sign saying there's a really nice shopping mall just here, But if you're living right here, 2 minutes from the shopping mall, the chance that you can actually afford to buy anything in that shopping mall is incredibly low, I would say. I think I found the best example of this, where you can see the slum housing and in the background, the money. So I figured here in probably one of the more ritzy areas of Morocco that I've been to is a great place to talk about the booming economy that's happening here in Casablanca and the importance of its port and the port of Mohammedia, which is just about 18 kilometers to the north. So here actually in the distance with some steam or something coming out of it is the port of Casablanca. And this port is responsible for a gigantic chunk of the country's economy. Shipping goods in and out of the country, of course, really important, but Morocco makes a lot of money, particularly from phosphates. They're a huge net exporter of phosphates, which are used in a lot of different chemical processes and products, as well as cigarettes, manufactured goods, lumber, all of this good stuff. So the port, this is the second largest port in Morocco. The biggest one is the Tangier Med port, which connects, of course, the Mediterranean to Morocco. Here you can see the kind of new modernity that's happening in Casablanca. These nice, beautiful sky rises right over the water. Look at how beautiful these are, and actually really nice modern architecture. Over here you have one of the biggest malls that you'll find in Morocco as well. And it seems like there is actually a lot of money, a lot of new and up and coming money here in Morocco. All of this probably 20 or 30 years ago, I would make a hard guess, didn't exist. The crazy part is Casablanca really is the economy of Morocco. Something like 56% of the industrial labor that's done in this country is done just in this one area. And we're talking about only an area of 4 million total people. So basically all of the people who have any sort of educational background in industry and finance, in economics, in building things, come to Casablanca to put those skills to work. Another important part of this modernity is that the national airline of Morocco doesn't operate from the capital, Rabat, but operates from here in Casablanca. The airline, just like with many things in Morocco, are of course owned by the government of Morocco. It says like 53% of the company, the Royal Air Morocco, is owned by the government, but another 44% is held by the Hassan II Economic Development Fund, which basically means it's owned by the Kingdom of Morocco. So as a lot of external investment comes to Morocco, and also a lot of things built by the government continue to be built up, it is not hard to forget that a large percentage, a big chunk of the economy is held by the Kingdom of Morocco, the king and his sons. So always a good thing to remember when you're in a kingdom. All right, I've entered the old Medina. It's always a wild time in the Medina. People running around, people doing things, little alleys. It seems like every Moroccan city has the same thing. This Medina isn't particularly special, but I do want to tell you the story of Casablanca. So this city was originally a Berber city, founded in like the 7th century, I think, and it was called Anfa, A-N-F-A. And Anfa remained a really important place in the Berber world and was supposed to be the greatest Berber city to kind of hold down their kingdom. Oh la la la. This place has the same story as many cities. The Berbers lost it to the Arabs were here, they built a city, some fortresses, blah blah blah. And then in the middle 1500s, this city particularly has a bit of a different story because it was the Portuguese, not the Spanish or the French, who got here first. So there was a lot of Portuguese influence, and as they destroyed Anfa, basically burning it to rubble, the Portuguese then rebuilt this beautiful port city called Casablanca, in which they changed it, of course, to the Spanish name, Salam alaikum. They changed it to, of course, the Spanish name Casablanca to what it is today. So this city, since basically the 1500s, has had the Portuguese, the French, and the Spanish all have some sort of influence over it, with of course that Arab, Moroccan, Berber undertone. So you get a place with kind of very similar style to what you would find in maybe in Spain or in Portugal. A lot of people warring over this place, of course, but the Medina, of course, always incredibly Moroccan and also full of life. I think the most positive part for Morocco for me is that no matter how modern the new part of the city gets, that you will never lose the Medinas, you'll never lose this market culture, the people wearing traditional clothes and all of the kind of like closed door old world things that are happening under the surface. So I think that's the job of any country, is how do you remain modern but also remain yourself. And I think Morocco is probably going to figure that out better than anyone. It's a place where you can have a high rise, you know, overlooking the ocean that you probably pay over $1,000 a month for, where you can still like go to the market, literally like a 10-minute walk, and have someone slaughter a fresh chicken for you in front of your eyes. That doesn't happen in a lot of places. I think one of the most interesting things for me visiting Morocco is I can reconnect a little bit with my heritage. No, I'm not Moroccan, but I am Jewish. And the most interesting thing for me is that every city in their old town, they have a still standing, still totally functional synagogue. And so here is the Casablanca version of a Jewish synagogue. In Morocco, because of the Spanish Inquisition, got a lot of Jews here between the 1500s and before the State of Israel was created. So it's always interesting to come and see a synagogue that's actually still here, still nice, being cared of. They always have caretakers. When you go to Europe as a Jew and you try to see synagogues, it is sad, it's tough to see, it's not awesome, and it makes it kind of like challenging to feel very positive about your religion. But here in Casablanca, in Rabat, everyone's got a synagogue. You can go in, you know, say a prayer if you need to. They were trying to charge me, and I was not having it, because I have to pay to see every mosque, I have to pay to see every church. I feel like I shouldn't have to pay to see a synagogue. So they really wanted me to pay, but I said, hey, I need to make a prayer for my grandma, so they let me in. So I said some prayers for the fam, and they let me in there. So I just don't think it's fair. Like, as an American, you get no benefit from being American in America. There's no extra, there's no better price for you, but you come here, there's the Moroccan price, there's the foreigner price. You know, you can go pray in the mosque if you're Muslim, but if you're a foreigner, you have to pay like $15 to go in. So I'm like, hey, this is my place, let me go in. So they let me in. That was very nice of them. So let's go find some food. Let's go find some food in this old Medina. Here in the center too, you can see this really kind of Spanish, Portuguese style. It's interesting, this area really looks like a place I saw earlier in my travels this last year in Costa Rica. So there are some similarities. I feel like Morocco is a land that I know very well, but it's all very new and confusing in the same sort of way. This whole Medina is covered in really actually very cool street art. They've got something like this. Look at that. Got everything painted. I think this might be close to a child's school or something. And they've got the flag of Casablanca flying high. Look at this. I haven't seen a Medina like this. It's very particular. Still confusing though. Still very, very confusing, as always. So I've got a treat that I found here. We've got some misimen, which is the pancake type bread here in Morocco. So I've got this one. They stuff this with tomato, with onion, with some garlic, and they have other traditional breads here. So got it. Let's do it. Shukran. This is absolutely one of my favorite things to eat in Morocco. One of the best things you can get. So tasty. And if they're making them fresh, they just have this texture that's so nice. Oh, it just smells good. It smells like roasted onions, tomatoes. Stuffed to perfection. So good. Talking about old world and the new world, this is as old world as it gets. So this is the Bab Marrakesh, or the Marrakesh Wall. Normally the walls of the Medina correspond with either a direction or the city that it's going to. You can find people selling like old like pipes and other like working materials, pharmacy, people selling all kinds of stuff. Very, very, very interesting place. There's just people everywhere outside here, and this is the fish market portion. You'll see guys yelling, selling fish, and then the cool part is they have the fresh fish here, and then all of these stalls over here are fried fish. So they're getting the fish right from the vendors, cooking it up. And it seems, I've never seen a country eat more fried fish. They make England seem like they don't eat fried fish. It's wild. Where Morocco and Mexico come together for me is these indoor markets. You get these sort of covered things, people vending, you got the cow hoofs, the meat, but then you also have, like, you know, fancy things to catch people's eyes. This is very Mexican for me, at least from my experiences. Ooh, this is the horse meat guy. I think the one funny thing that I'll say as I exit this market is that in developing countries, people are always selling, not just a little bit, but in abundance of stuff every day, all the time, in a crazy way. But there's just so much variety and so much abundance. But then you go to a developed country, and sometimes you're hard pressed to find like a grocery store that's open, or people like that are willing to sell you stuff. Like, you could just buy anything at any time from any one of these people, any day of the week. And I think that's what I love. I think it's true when I call Tangier a bipolar city, but this city is way more bipolar than Tangier. I mean, you get the, like, I just came out of the Medina zone, very aggressive, very old world. And then if you just walk literally down the street and to the left, you can stay at the Hyatt Regency for $200 a night. I don't know what's more bipolar than that. So to finish this video out strong, I found a parking lot that sells a lot of fish parking lot. So you got lots of little stands over here. You got this guy making different kinds of food. And you can see over here, it's like a very chill situation. All of the guys making the fish literally in this parking lot. So far I've ordered the traditional Moroccan salad. We've got some eggplants with a little bit of pepper. Look at that, beautiful. We've got the kind of spicy dipping sauce and a nice piece of Moroccan bread. Look at that. And here we have the beautiful plate of grilled sardines, arranged head to tail, head to tail, head to tail, for some nice presentation. It's about as Moroccan as it gets. It's all about the seafood in this country. You gotta do it. When you're eating the Moroccan fish, you've gotta just go in with the hands. Wow, really hot, to avoid the bones. Salty, a little bit of lemon on top. Sardines are like the best fish. They just taste so good. And with a little roasted pepper, nothing better. Moroccan lunch. I'm actually stunned. That was only 16 dirham, which is like $1.80 for 6 beautifully grilled pieces of sardine with bread, with salad, with eggplant and peppers. It's crazy. It really is the, and you can have that under like a mega hotel where you're spending $200 a night. This is crazy. They were so nice. And this is actually the station where they have these are called the Grand Taxis, so they take you all over the city, intercity. But they don't stop. The red taxis are something different. And the seagulls, they know. They definitely know. So we're ending our tour of Casablanca now in the Mohammed V Square here in the center of old Casablanca. We've got a beautiful administration house here. You have the Palace of Justice, another old house that is it's the Army Museum, I believe. And then over here, a brand new, high quality, kind of like Los Angeles-esque theater. So in this part of Casablanca, you'll find, I don't know, lots of French colonial buildings, that kind of like old style that brings you back to the movie Casablanca that everyone thinks about, that kind of really nice antiquated vibe. You got bars and restaurants and cafes. little walking street. It's not the most impressive old town that I've seen, but beautiful nonetheless. So that's going to be it from Casablanca. Hope you guys enjoyed the tour. Hope you guys enjoyed the vibe a little bit. I know I really enjoyed it. This is a very interesting city. I'm pleasantly surprised. It's certainly not the most Moroccan city that you'll find, but I actually think it has a good mix of everything. The old and the new, the Medina culture, the modernity, the Berber thing, the beautiful buildings. So I'm gonna say, you hear it from me first, Casablanca's a pretty good one. Don't skip Casablanca. Everyone says you can skip it, but I enjoyed it. And apparently there's really nice restaurants you can go to, cool bars, and all that cool stuff. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Always helps me out. If you don't like it, that's all right. I'll probably catch you in the next one. And that's gonna be it from Casa. So we'll see you in El Jadida next. And it'll be our last video in Morocco. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Adios, amigos de Casablanca.